Happy Tuesday. So awesome Tuesday, nice sunny Tuesday. I got one of my packages that I purchased from Amazon. Going to see if the battery pack will power up as soon as I get it. But moving on, we're going to be talking about some lawsuits related to gun violence. I know it's not everybody's favorite topic. It's very sad, and unfortunately, when it comes to gun violence, no one truly gets justice, regardless of whether or not the person doing the shooting gets convicted and sent to prison or sentenced to death, or whether or not the person doing the shooting ends their life, or whether or not you do lawsuits. You're not going to get true justice because no amount of justice is going to bring it back a life that was taken. Now, of course, Uvalde's special because people's future was taken from them. These were kids that were slaughtered. So it's a little bit different, a little bit special in the wrong ways. But of course, this is a new lawsuit. Family of Uvalde massacre victim sues gun maker, gun store, and more than 130 police officers. Now, my stance is the gun store and the gun maker shouldn't be sued. They bear very little responsibility. They did their due diligence, they did the background check. Now, whether or not this person should have been flagged for not being able to participate in the Second Amendment, I don't know. I haven't heard any stories one way or the other, whether or not he had a record or not. But let's say he did have a record, but he was able to pass a background check. That falls onto law enforcement not doing their job. It's not up to the gun maker because the gun maker sells the gun to the person. The person then picks up the gun at the gun store, and the gun store does the background check. But the whole myth that you don't need to do a background check when you purchase a gun from a website, which is technically true, but what they're leaving out is you go to a gun store, someone with a FFL license, and they do the background check as you're picking it up. A new federal lawsuit on the mother of Elena Torres, one of the 19 children killed in Robb Elementary's school mass shooting on May 24th, accuses scores of individuals, law enforcement agencies, local government, and the maker of the semi-automatic rifle used in the slaying of the falling or failing to protect the victims. I mean, it's tragic, don't get me wrong, it's tragic. Filed on Monday, Del Rito, the suit described the last time Sandra Torres talked to her 10-year-old daughter hours before the gunman entered Uvalde school and opened fire in the classrooms, 111 and 112, killing 19 fourth grade students and 2 teachers. Very tragic. Alina called her mother, a fleet driver, after waking up around 7:20 a.m. Her final youth softball game of the seasons was that evening, and Elena, I hope I'm saying that name correctly, was nervous about making the All-Star team. Before hanging up, Elena told her mother that she loved her, and then she put on ripped jeans, a white top, and black Vans sneaker. Her grandmother took her to school for her third to last day as a fourth grader in classroom 111. It was awards day. Elena attended the school award ceremony that morning and posting in front of a photo of a pink balloons with some of her best friends. Now, this site wants to prevent me from using ad blocker, so I'm not able to show you the pictures. The girl returned to class later that morning. Elena did not make it out of the classroom of 111, the lawsuit says. She was killed and her family's world was destroyed. I have sympathies for them. I can't imagine the heartbreak, the sadness, that they're feeling right now. My heart goes out to them. Well, I agree with the majority of the lawsuits with the law enforcement, the school, and a few others, but when it comes to the store and to the gun manufacturer, they don't have a crystal ball knowing who's going to be a monster and who's not going to be a monster. Let's see here. Sandra Torres brought up the suit along with Elena's older brother, Ellie Jr., and their older sister, Justice. I'm sorry, that's kind of funny. The sister's called Justice, and they're seeking justice. I know it's a little bit dark humor. They're suing the gun maker Daniel Defense, LCCC of Georgia, local OS's Outback gun store where the shooter picked up his AR 15 style rifle. Uvalde School District, dozens of officers who converged onto the school, the city of Uvalde, Uvalde County, and the local fire marshal. I don't know what the local fire marshal has to do with it, other than they're just a government entity that has money, I guess. The 77 lawsuit accuses many of the defense of contributing to the wrongful death, negligence, and violating the constitutional rights of Elena and the other victims at Robb Elementary. Sometimes the only way you get justice is by filing a lawsuit, says Blas Delgado of San Antonio, the lead lawyer of the Toros family. There have been a lot of questions throughout the investigations, and we hope this is also helps answer some of them. Hopefully we do get the answer why the back door was open. And when I say open, was not locked, of course. The suit alleges Daniel Defense markets its products to adolescents and young men using range of channels, including social media content, products, placements, and print advertisements. For example, Daniel Defense promotes its products heavily on Instagram, a platform with a younger user base, the lawsuit states. Daniel Defense also places its products in video games. I don't know of any game that has Daniel Defense, but I don't play those type of games, I guess. Then heavily promotes the video game, tying with the company's social media accounts, the suit said. The gun manufacturer did not respond to the request for comment on Monday because their lawyer probably told them to say nothing. The monster of Uvalde bought a DDM4V7 rifle on Daniel Defense website for about $2K on May 16th on its 18th birthday. Another website, he paid another $1,700 for. Oh yeah, I forget. This is when the prices were really high. They were almost $1 per round. 1,740 rounds of ammunition for the rifle. All I'm going to say is I don't have 1,740 rounds of ammunition. I think I got more for my AR-15. I think I got probably close to 8K. No, maybe not 8,000, but it's pretty darn close. Especially when you want to shoot a lot, you're going to need a lot of ammunition, especially if you purchase one time a year for your yearly supply. That can get up there. So that's not unreasonable to say the least. I mean, I know that people are going to see thousands of rounds and you think that's unnecessary, but you know, when you want to shoot every weekend and you shoot about 20 to 30, maybe even 100 rounds, that tends to get used up pretty quickly. Just my observation. OS's Outback sells. The next day, Ramos went on to OS's Outback and bought a Smith & Wesson MP15 assault rifle for another $1,000, the lawsuit said. I mean, I also want to know where he's getting his money. The day after that, the teenager went back to OAS's Outback to buy an additional 375 rounds of AR-15 ammunition, which is either .223 or 5.56. Ramos returned to OS Outback again 2 days later on May 20th to pick up his Daniel Defense rifle. He bought accessories for the weapons. Oh, I meant to say monster. Oasis Outback had a duty to not sell a weapon to a just turned 18-year-old shooter who it knew or reasonably should have known was likely to harm himself or others, the suit say. How are we supposed to know? How are we supposed to judge a person's character within the small interactions? I mean, monsters are really good at hiding. They're really good at projecting what they're not. So how are we supposed to know that someone's going to go do a monstrous thing? I could talk to a person that looks crazy, and I may report him being crazy, and it may turn out that he is the nicest soul known to man. He actually goes out of his way to help grandma across the street. But he looks crazy. He acts erratic. How am I supposed to know? Let's say I was a person that was at this store. How am I supposed to know that someone's going to be a monster? Then, of course, you have the other people that are really nice, very curious, has good manners. And the next thing you know, you read on the news that they did something monstrous. How are we as humans are supposed to pick up on that? We're not psychiatrists. You're pretty much asking people to get a degree in psychology if they want to work at a gun store. I mean, maybe their gut instinct, they didn't act on it, or maybe they never had a gut instinct. Maybe everything appeared normal because monsters are really good at hiding. The shooter was described by the patrons of the store of having a nervous distribution and behaving suspiciously. Okay, list examples. I mean, maybe he's just a shy 18-year-old. How is that any different than another shy 18-year-old picking up his first gun? I really want to know. I really want to know how they could say that the shooter described by his patrons of the store of having a nervous distribution and behaving suspiciously. What is their evidence? And I would like to see the evidence. I don't know the evidence. All I have is the San Antonio Express news. The shooter had purchased 2 extraordinary lethal assault weapons. Assault weapons! Well, I hate to break this to you. Any weapon that is used to assault someone is considered an assault weapon. A baseball bat could be considered a lethal assault weapon. Just being honest, and enough ammunition to fight a small army. Well, nah, kind of, but not really. As well as a holographic sight and a Hellfire Gun 2 trigger system, spending thousands of dollars within days of his 18th birthday, it stated. The owner of Oasis Outback declined to comment on the lawsuit, probably because his lawyers said not to. Officer sued. Really, that's it. But man, I was really able to spread this out to 13 minutes. It's terrible on me. The complaint names a defendant, several officers from the school district, city police officers, Uvalde County Sheriff deputies and constables, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and a Texas Ranger. Participants in the botched law enforcement response to the mass shooting. Officers waited more than 70 minutes to confront and kill the gunman. I'm going to have to hear their side of the story. It doesn't look good. The optics does not look good. I will admit, the optics does not look good. The police chief of the school district definitely deserves to be sued and definitely deserves to be fired. And I'm glad he was. Officers on the scene had a duty to care for Alana, which they breached by delaying the entry of their classroom for well over an hour, thus denying access to emergency medical and rescue services. The lawsuit said the suit includes an additional 123 defendants identified as Doe. Most are officers who are responding to the mass shooting. Qualified immunity will be applied here. I'm just going to say, chances are qualified immunity is going to be applied here, mainly because you don't really want to sue individual officers unless something horrific happens and they're gross negligence or they do something completely out of the norm to where they don't qualify for immune. And it could be the simple fact that these cops were non-prepared. They had the mentality that we're Texas, it's never going to happen here in our school district mentality, which is also wrong. But of course, we have the Virginia Walmart mass shooting survivor files a $5 million lawsuit against Walmart. That's right, Norfolk, Virginia. A Walmart employee who survived last week's mass shooting at the store in Virginia had filed a $50 million lawsuit against the company for allegedly continuing to employ the shooter, a store supervisor who had known propensely or whatever, prone to for violence, threats, and strange behavior. The lawsuit claims, which appears to be the first stem of the shooting, was filed Tuesday in Chesapeake Circuit Court by Donna Pryliu. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Walmart, which is headquartered in Bentonville, Arkansas, said in a statement that it was reviewing the complaint and will respond as appropriated with the court. The entire Walmart family is heartbroken by the loss and value members of our team. The company said our deepest sympathy will go out to our associates and everyone impacted, including to those who were injured. We're focusing on supporting our associates with significant resources, including counseling. Prior suit alleges that she experienced a post-traumatic stress disorder with good reason, including physical and emotional distress. What's physical distress? I'm just curious. From witnessing a rampage of the store's break room on November 22nd, her lawsuit offers fresh details of a terrifying attack, provides a long list of troubling signs displayed by the shooter that she claims the managers failed to address. I really want to know what that is, but they break it up. Bullets whizzed by the plaintiff, Danya Pryliul's face and the left side, barely missing her loss. Not missing her. The lawsuit states, witnessed several of her co-workers being brutally murdered on either side of her. It's probably survival guilt that she's also going to be facing, which is a real thing. The lawsuit added that Ms. Pryul looked at one of her co-workers in the eyes right after she's been shot in the neck. Ms. Pryul saw the bullet wound of her co-worker's neck, blood rushing out. The shocked look of her co-worker's helpless face. The store supervisor, Monster 31, fatally shot 6 employees, wounding several others before he died an apparent self-inflicted gunshot, police said. The lawsuit alleges that the monster had personal vendetta against several Walmart employees and kept a kill list for potential targets prior to the shooting. The list is reference to a death note found on the monster's phone and released Friday by authorities. The note appeared to contain specific references to people he worked with, but authorities redacted their names. The monster was a Walmart team leader who worked for the company since 2010. He was responsible for managing the overnight stock crew, including Parlu, who started her job on May 2021. The lawsuit says, she's been there over a year. Nice. The lawsuit claims that the management knew or should have known about the monster's disturbed behavior and lists several instances of alarming conduct. Prior to the shooting, the monster repeatedly asked the co-workers if they received their active shooter training. The suit states when the co-worker responded that they had, the monster just smiled and walked away without saying anything. I guess I have to see how he looked. I don't know if there's any recordings of that, but that seems to be responsible on the surface level, but unfortunately not. The monster made comments to other Walmart's employees and managers suggesting that he would be violent if fired or disciplined, according to the suit, which says the monster was disciplined leading up to the shooting, making his violent outbursts predictable. Or he could have, we know what happened and I'm playing devil's advocate. It could be that he was just a troll. And I don't know how to really address trolls versus an actual threat. Um, Maybe he should have never been a supervisor. Maybe once he starts making those threats or comments, they should have demoted him to say that this isn't allowed. Another instance, being told a co-worker that he ran over a turtle with a lawnmower just to see his gut spray out, which made him hungry and reminded him of ramen noodles. All right, that's a red flag. The monster previously disciplined for bad behavior and harassing employees, but Walmart kept employing him anyways, probably because they were short-handed. In her court filings, Priel stated that she and her mother attempted to take actions against the monster. Parlu also submitted to a former complaint that Walmart global ethics statements for where am I? Oh yeah, there we are. I hate the sites that auto refresh. Statements from indicating that the monster bizarrely inappropriate comment to Miss Parlu's age. The lawsuit alleges that the monster told her, "It isn't your lady clock ticking. Shouldn't you be having kids?" Perlow also complained that the monster had harassed her for being poor, being short, and according to the lawsuit states that she informed Walmart that the monster called her a bitch under his breath. September. All right, it's a little bit more. In September, Perlow's mothers expressed concerns that Walmart manager about her daughter's safety. Became apparent that their concerns were falling on deaf ears, the lawsuit states. There is a option to a lot of these people. I know my HR training tells me that this is the wrong choice to make. But if you feel like you are not being heard in your situation, if you're having concerns that are falling on deaf ear, HR says that you have to get those addressed, but the option is to find another job. Walmart is not the pretty sure not the only place that's hiring. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a small town where Walmart is the only store in town. But still, if you feel your life is in danger, quit. No job is worth your life. No job. And if your complaints are falling on deaf ears, quit. Get other people to quit in protest. They'll start listening when they no longer have people working for them. The manager said there was nothing that could be done about the monster because he was liked by management. Before the shooting, the monster told cold workers that the government was watching them. I don't know if that's true, but that's definitely interesting. The suit says that he kept a black tape on his phone camera so no one could spy on him. I mean, that's good practice, anyways. The note on his phone, the monster claimed that he was harassed and said that he was pushed into the brink by a perception of his new perception by his phone was hacked. Yeah, man, this guy was a wacko. The note also accused colleagues of mocking him. The monster's death note rambling at times through 11 paragraphs which references in the non-traditional cancer treatments and songwriting. He says people unfairly compared him to a serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. Jessica Walensky, a Walmart employee who also witnessed the shooting, told the Associated Press last week that the monster seemed to target certain people. The way he was acting, he was going hunting, she said. In a note to employees on Tuesday, Walmart President and CEO John Furrier wrote that the people who were killed were amazing and irreplaceable members of our family. I mean, they're not irreplaceable. You're Walmart. But I get the sentiment. I get that you have to say that. The Walmart Foundation also included a contribution to $1 million to the United Way of Southampton Roads Hope and Healing Fund, which will support those impacted by the shooting, and the broader Chesapeake Committee for the Roads. Copyrighted 2022, Associated Press, all right reserves. This material may not be used to publish or broadcast written Written or redisputed. Oops. Don't really care. But yes, lawsuits will happen. I mean, lawsuits will always happen. Now, I saw the Uvalde story. Well, heard the Uvalde story on the radio. Um, Person referenced Remington's lawsuit, how they settled. They really didn't settle at the time. I did a video. This wasn't really a win for the gun grabbers. It wasn't really a win for gun manufacturers. The thing is, Remington went bankrupt and they were clearing out the books so they could finalize the company. I think the company was purchased by another company, which took them over, but they were clearing out the books to create a clean slate, as they say, which is kind of normal in business. But I don't think gun manufacturers should be responsible. I don't think gun stores should be responsible. The other people listed in the Uvalde lawsuits, I don't see an issue with them being sued because there definitely needs to be answers to questions that need to be answered, of course. With the Virginia Walmart, Walmart definitely should be sued because it seems like there was a history of claims being made and no one was being addressing them. That's my video. Leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.